Ultraman Trigger.
Episode 8, The Propagating Invasion. I'm gonna dive right into a overall summary, so let's just get with that. Basically, an alien known as Dada is hacking people's devices, controlling all kinds of digital services. Basically, just like, it's standard. They put the alien in the mainframe, sort of story. And this eventually catches up to the crew of the Nurse Desi, who they themselves are now getting hacked, and it's affecting Guts all around, and they gotta put a stop to it. And this is coinciding with Haruki receiving his other forms as Guts Hyperkeys, and he ends up heading out with Kengo to go and save the day as Zet and Trigger have one quick bout against both the Ultraman-powered variant of Dada and King Joe Storage Custom. Until the day is finally saved, Haruki flies off, but in the middle of everything happening, Yuna actually ended up saving Akito using the inner Yuzare ability. Like, it jumped out at her, and this time she actually could tell that Yuzare had jumped out. It's not like she just blacked out completely. So the episode actually ends on this sort of weird note of Akito sort of at a loss of what to say, leading into the next episode, which I'll go into later. Before anything else, I wanted to talk about Haruki, because previously, in the last year's season, Riku from GUTS showed up for 2 episodes to highlight new toy they made, like the medals for Ginga X and Orb, gave Riku a new form, which they advertised through those episodes, and then he was gone for a bit until later they brought Riku back for the debut of Delta Rise Claw, and that all happened, and then that was basically his time on the show. So despite getting advertised really early on, like before the show had premiered, it was less of a major role for him and more just like they had a fun 2-parter, and he showed up again later, and that was that. There's a very similar feeling here with Haruki, because just overall how it was implemented into the show, it's very clear that they're like advertising that specific thing. But now he's going to have to push away, because now we're going to move on to what they're advertising next, which will, like I said in the previous video, will probably be Dark Trigger. So it seems like Haruki, he's going to go off. He's already left with King Joe and Belly Rock, and they're going to head back to the Ultraman Z universe. And for the time being, it seems like he'll probably have those 2 same episodes that Riku did in his series. And then maybe Haruki might show up again later on if they feel like including him in the story again. But as it stands, it looks like these 2 episodes will be the end of Haruki's involvement in the series. In retrospect, it was a really good way to sort of have Haruki return without messing up anything. And the whole time during the episode, they have this great bit where all of the different members of Storage are like doing their part to keep the Nurse Desi from getting taken over, and you've got like Marulu and Teshin in the back, like doing stuff, like Teshin was trying to fight the Dadas that were showing up. Marulu was like handling all the tech stuff. You had Nanase piloting a VR simulation, which was actually styled like a Famicom game, and she even had like a little old like Famicom styled controller. And then in the middle of all this, Ignis is just in the background screwing around, like he's using like a weird brain massager thing on Marulu and Tatsumi, and towards the end, like I think after the day is saved and everything, you could see him in the back riding on a Segway. And speaking of Tatsumi, there was a really cool bit with how during the episode, once things started getting into gear, everyone was freaking out and doing all these things, but he's sitting there like sort of patiently in his chair, just right there, not moving at all, and everything's just going how it is. Dada's trying to sort of take control of King Joe, and he's sort of transmitting his data into him so he can possess him or something like that. And as he's doing that, he reveals this central core. As his body sort of dematerializing and entering King Joe, it reveals a central core that right when it's exposed, the Nurse Desi fires a shot, and it reveals that the entire time, Tatsumi was just sitting there waiting for the perfect shot, and right when he showed up, he took it without even saying a word, almost the entire episode. And it was just like the kind of cool thing that's just like a nice detail that really felt like it added a lot to rewatching the episode and thinking, because I watched the episode live and then rewatched it before recording this, and it sort of like knowing what he did in advance, it made it funnier to just see all this going on and to just think of Tatsuya just sitting there thinking like, okay, any second now. And swerving back around, Akito in this was kind of great with him working off to the side with Yuna, but more importantly, earlier in the episode, right at the beginning, they sort of do the same thing they did the previous episode, where Akito's just trying to work on Haruki's stuff, get him some new gear so he can help out during the crossover, and Kengo and Haruki are just nerding out about being ultras and stuff, and it kind of tied into something that I realized during the episode. I really felt like Haruki acting as this sort of third force between Kengo and Akito really felt like it heightened their dynamic, with Kengo being, oh, smile, and Akito being Akito. And I feel like it really gave them this sort of barrier for, he's resonating well with Haruki, he's having a great time, but Akito, he's sort of annoyed. He's like sort of like, man, I can't wait for this guy to finally go home. It creates this fun dynamic where you see the two of them in the different ways they're reacting to Haruki, and the way that they then interact with each other in reaction to Haruki. And that leads into a great moment at the end of the episode where they're talking about, where Kengo is talking to Haruki about how, he's a great partner. Kengo, love that guy. He's a great guy. He did a good job as a partner today. And he walks in. He's like, what do you mean? I'm not your partner. You're so annoying, or whatever. But once Haruki leaves, Kengo's like, man, I could really go for some ramen. And Akito's like, oh yeah, do you want to go to a ramen stand? And Kengo's like, oh, really? Really? You want to go to a ramen stand? And then Akito's immediately like, okay, no, you've made it weird. I'm done. And it's just, I love that dynamic, and it really felt fun seeing it in a casual setting like this. And it was also one of the few parts where that 3-part, like episodes, I think it was 3 to 5, I want to say, where I was having problems with it, and that I've mentioned in previous installments. Yeah, like the one thing I really resonated with during those episodes was the dynamic Kengo and Akito had, and it was just really enjoyable in this episode. And in retrospect, I really feel like as long as they use the other members of GUTS Select to try and create those reactionary moments for both Kengo and Akito to sort of have something to play off of each other with, I really have confidence that a lot of my problems with both how their dynamic is progressing and how GUTS Select feels as a team will really improve in future episodes. It could go any way, and the way things are going right now, I am very happy. So yeah, that'll do it for Ultraman Trigger this week. Go show wa kudasai, ware no na wo. Ultraman Z.